Okay, section 9.2 is about reflections. So what we're going to do is we're going to plot a point and we're going to reflect it across one of our lines. So all you have to do is just make sure that the distance from the point to the line is the same on both sides. So let's see what that looks like. So we're going to plot this first point, which is at 3, 4. So I'm going to go right 3 and then up 4, which is here. And then I'm going to see what it's saying to reflect across. So it says reflect P across the line y equals 1. So I'm going to go to the y-axis. So I labeled my two axes here. So the y-axis is the vertical one. So I go to the y-axis at 1, and my line has to cross through there. So that means that all of my points would end up being horizontal. So I would have a horizontal line that crosses through that y-axis. So now I just count my distance from my point. So if I count my distance to my line, it means that I have to go down 3. So then I just count 3 away. So 1, 2, 3. So here would be my reflection point, which is what I labeled with P prime. Okay, why don't you pause the video and try the got it question. So on the got it question, it asked you to reflect that same point. So I'm still going to use the point 3, 4 for my point P. So I plotted that point, went right 3 up 4. Now I'm going across the line x equals 1. So again, labeling your x and y axes, I would go to the x-axis at 1, and then my line would have to cross through there, so that would make it a vertical line. So then I go to the point that I plotted. I count my distance to that line, so it count 2, so now I'm going to count 2 away. Here's my new reflection point. It asked for the coordinates, so I would have to write down the new coordinates. So I would write down -1, +4 for my new coordinates. Okay, so the next one is what do you do if you have to reflect a whole image? So you're just going to do the same thing. So here you have a triangle with these points at A, B, and C. So I went ahead and plotted them. So the one that you see in pink is the original one. So I went left 3 up 4, I went just up 1, and then I went right 4 up 2. That's the pink triangle. It says to reflect it across the y-axis. So again, remembering which one is which, here is my y-axis. So this is the line that I have to reflect across. So for A, I would count my distance to the axis, which would be 3, count away 3, so here would be my new point. B is on that axis, so I'm not going to move any to that line, so it's going to stay right where it's at for its reflection point because it doesn't move since it's on it. C, I would count my distance 1, 2, 3, 4, and then count away 1, 2, 3, 4, so here would be my new, and then I would draw in a different color my new reflection image. Why don't you pause the video and see if you can do the last one. On the last one, you're doing that same triangle that we had on the previous problem, so I plotted that same triangle, and now it's asking me to reflect across the x-axis. So again, my x-axis is this one that goes horizontal, so I'm reflecting across there. So for A, I counted down 1, 2, 3, 4, so then I would count away 1, 2, 3, 4. B is counting 2 at 1, so I count away 1, and then C you count down 2, and then another down 2. So the blue should be your new reflection image. Reflections are really not that hard. The only problem is that people tend to mix up the x and y axis. So make sure you pay attention to when it says axis versus x equals 1 or y equals 1.